and welcome to the Gray Matters, where we discuss more than just the hot topics and headlines of the day from a Black man's perspective. We appreciate that we are not a monolith, and every subject deserves to be explored with nuance, giving a view from all sides of the culture. So, we're here to hopefully bring that to you every week with a little bit of class, some fun, and our panel consists, as always, of three guys that are absolutely nothing alike. And you'll soon come to find out just how much we love each other in spite of our sometimes very big differences. I'm Billy Craig, and I'll be your moderator again for the day, coming to you from a very mild but beautiful Delaware. Jermaine and Jackie are unavailable, so I'm joined today by none other than Marlon on the tambourine and Tito on the guitar. Good to see you, gentlemen. Please say hello.
Just keep Jermaine from round me, bruh. If I see Jermaine, it's on.
It's on. What's going on, man? Oh, man. All right, yeah, we don't want no fighting out here, so.
Keep your hands to yourself, Jermaine.
There you go. All right, then. Well, let's go ahead and get things started with our first topic. And let's see how we want to set this one up. So it's time to have a real heart-to-heart, honest one here.
Uh-oh.
Do we give less props and less respect to successful Black people if they marry outside of their race? And along with that, should we? I think about that because there have been numerous different articles and different
coming in hot early.
Yeah, man. And let's get right to it, you know. But there have been numerous different articles, different headlines, different things I've seen in the media. And one in particular, it always stands out to me. I was thinking about one of somebody who I really admire and respect, and that's Byron Allen. So he goes out and he buys, in addition to buying the weather, right? Like, as hot as it was last year, I was thinking somebody need to call Byron Allen and fix it, because it's too hot. But he done bought the weather, and now this man buys an entire news network. And I was kind of thinking to myself, like, he doesn't really get a whole lot of love. Now, what a lot of people, I guess the part that goes unsaid, is that a lot of people know this, some people don't, but that he's married to a white lady. And I wonder if guys like that, maybe we don't hold them up in maybe the highest regard because of that. I even think about like the fact that people like Ketanji Brown Jackson, how she just got put on the Supreme Court, and it's like, you know, people are clapping and they're happy and there's applause, but is there less applause because she married to a white guy? Would we feel the same way we did, and maybe even give how we've given some of the breaks that we did to Barack Obama when he got voted in as president? And it was because we saw him with, you know, a Black woman and two Black kids. What did Cat Williams say? She smells like you can look at her and tell she smells like Motion's hair cream, you know, and cocoa butter lotion. Like you can tell, right? Do we do that in the community where we, you know, and I guess, you know, for those that do, should we? Do they have a right to feel that way? Paul, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. I'll take this one on. First of all, I say it depends on if we like you or not. Right? So they caped up for Kamala, but didn't nobody give a damn about Mia Love. Right? And it's also different for women than it is for men. If you're a man and you are financially or powerfully elite as a Black man, it is almost your duty to take on a Black wife. Whereas if you're just a regular guy with a good ass job, you know, who it doesn't matter who you marry. And it's about representation and the transition of wealth. Now, I'm not saying this because I believe it. I'm saying this because that is public perception, and that is how Black people judge other Black people from my perspective. The higher up the ladder you go, the Blacker they expect you to get once you get there. If Jay-Z had married Katy Perry instead of Beyonce, wouldn't nobody have bought 444? Right? But if Beyonce had married Justin Timberlake, she still would have the Beehive.
See, yeah, because I think about it even with like the Williams sisters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Serena's still Serena all day long.
Right.
And there's no question to it. But, you know, that double standard is there. And I almost wonder if maybe we should remove that double standard or that stigma. Maybe we should be willing to give the brothers a break the same way we do for the women, because a lot of times I'll hear falsely, by the way, which is another story for another day, but falsely I'll hear this thing where it's like, well, it's harder for Black women out here to find a man on their level. Why are you laughing, Andre? You know you heard it.
I have.
Kanye, don't act like I made that up.
Kanye messed it up for everybody. Kanye messed it up when he said, when you get on, you leave your ass for a white girl. And ever since then, like, even the bitterness has been there. And the reason I'm chuckling is because
he said the quiet part out loud. He literally said the quiet part out loud.
And then went and did it in your face.
Said, watch. Exhibit A.
But not one, but two.
But two. Yeah. But I'm trying to figure out who holds the keys to the double standard, because every time a Black woman does it, like Serena or, you know, somebody like that, the story becomes, well, she tried it with Black men and they just did her dirty, and, you know, and this is why she went to a different race. Whereas Black men, we get done dirty just the same way, but if we ended up with a white girl, like if LeBron James had married it's already people on the fence about him as a person anyway, for no reason whatsoever. So if he would have married a white woman, this would that may actually break the internet. So he's stuck with Savannah from now on, because if he cannot leave Savannah for a white girl at this point.
What if D Wade was married to a white woman with everything going around in his house right now?
They still had the same thing going on.
Right, the exact same thing, but it's not Gabrielle Union, it's Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, they would place him in all the memes in Get Out with some white ladies with a teacup circling around, because they would call him a lost soul. Like, not just he found somebody to treat him right. They would consider him lost with a transgender daughter, and there's way too many backstories on that one. There's already too many backstories for it to be just Black. You know,
they ain't got nothing to do with us, but they just
nothing to do with us. But we gonna make it have to do with us if he was married to a white woman. It's just, but I think that the standard or double standard is still held by other, like, Black women. Like, I think they hold the keys to this one, because I don't see other dudes like getting mad if another, you know, a Black man marries a white woman. Like, I just don't. Like, I mean, it just is what it is. All three of us are married to Black women, but like, I don't know if I would look at Billy or Paul any differently if their wife was of a different race, or, you know, it ain't even got to be white. Like, it could be Mexican or Asian or whatever. I just be like, hey, you know, congratulations.
It's funny that you bring that up, though, Andre, because I wonder if there's a difference. And again, I'm just going to be very candid with you. These are questions I'm afraid to ask my mama and my wife. Okay. And I love my wife and we're doing just fine, but I don't even ask. There is counseling, there's therapy, there's forgiveness, there's possible reconciliation. If there's a problem in my marriage that involves another Black woman, if I'm messing with a white woman
That's a wrap.
I can't come home.
What's the
Right.
girl in Waiting to Exhale, Bernie? Ain't that who set the car?
Yes, exactly. And that's kind of what I'm saying. And I think you said something very important there, Andre, where it's like the double standard and the keys are all held by the actual group that's in charge of that, which is Black women. Because by and large, it's not that we don't see it or know it or even have a difference of opinion. Like, I would venture to say that we all probably land somewhere different on how we feel about it, what we think about, because we all have friends that we know of who are married to women outside of the Black community or white women in particular. But there's a difference. There's a big difference between, I'm thinking of one in particular right now. He married someone who's not Black, but she's from like somewhere in South America, right? I want to say she's from Colombia or something. Like, and it's kind of like, okay, you get a pass. You can still show up to the barbecue and you get full benefits. But, you show up with Becky or Heather, and then it's like, well, not Heather, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
You show
Really?
up
That's what we doing.
Sorry, I reached in there. I reached in the jar and grabbed the two whitest names I could get.
Paul and Heather, right? Yeah. Well, we confuse some people when we show up to some events. Trust me.
Oh yeah, like it happened. But that's what I'm saying is that there's a difference there, and that double standard is frankly held by those who are in charge. And I guess my question is, should they? Why is that standard that way? Like, why is it Serena and Ketanji and Kamala get something that I don't get?
I think, well, one, let me at least answer the second part of the question before we continue, which is, should it change or should we care? And maybe that's just my part of the answer is I really don't care. Like, I don't care who you show up with any more than I care whether it's a gay person or like it's your life. Whoever you choose to be attached to, I'm perfectly fine with. Like it's not my business, or is it my responsibility to care on your house? Like I got my house. That's all I can worry about. And
right.
we spend not we as the show, but as a collective, spend a lot of time worrying about other people's households that ain't got nothing to do with ours. They ain't showing up to our family reunion. It's really weird. This real weird space that we're in, because Black women love to point to picture of they've been down for Black men since slavery, and they held it down, and they've always had our back in every situation and stuff like that. But now they are surprisingly quiet when it is one of them that no longer, wants to quote unquote hold us down and go to a different race. And you'll see them actually celebrate, like, go ahead, girl. I knew, men was doing you wrong, so I understand. And, I may go get me one myself. Speaking of white men, like, and it's just like, that's really odd to flip the script like that.
It's a weird flex, man, because and the only thing I'll say is this: like, how deep do we want to go down this rabbit hole right now? Because in all honesty, just piggybacking off of what you just said, Andre, what I find interesting is that a lot of times men, at least in my experience, most of the Black men I know, even if they do care, they don't care that much. Like, they don't care enough to revoke your privileges or somehow treat it as though it's a matter of I can't trust you. But again, and I've heard this too many times, whenever I'll say, and I have friends of mine, again, I've seen, and this is unfortunate truth, that's why I said, how far do we want to go with this? Where you'll see a guy and it'll be like, oh, well, they be looking at him and thinking, well, we didn't want him anyway. Like, he looked like, 3 Frankenstein monsters. Like, nobody's trying to, like, we're gladly handed, like, and they'll say it, that little phrase of, well, they'll just take anything. And the same is true a lot of times, where it's like, not that I'm judging it, but it's like, we have that kind of standard in our mind where it's like, you know, I think it's frankly a little bit different. If you were at a certain standard of beauty where it's like, oh, okay, I feel some kind of way about this person being quote unquote taken by the other side, then I do the majority of them, right? I mean, I heard dudes all day long talking about, man, that's messed up what Serena did, because people, they found, you know, for their reason, they found Serena to be attractive, like she was a prize. And
it's
so
not attractive. It's the transfer of wealth. She took billions of dollars out of the Black community. However, she also brought in billions of dollars.
I was getting ready to say, like,
because old boy is super duper paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's also, ain't he like 6'5", 6'6" too?
Yeah. So
like there's some genetics, there's some survival of the fittest going on in there as well. Like he ain't like some old shriveled up little dude. Like dude is a big dude. He got paper. Like
she said, look at his shoulders. Look at his neck. Okay. We got to think about the future generations.
Yeah.
But like, I think all three of us, I'm just going to speculate, but I'm sure at least all three of us at one point have heard the phrase uttered, if she can't use your comb, you don't bring her home. Like and I see Paul has received that because he rolled his eyes. But to me, like it's so far beyond just like at this point, based on some of these earlier shows we've had where we talked about the dating pool, like find somebody who actually loves you and just roll with it. Like, but that's neither here nor there. That's outside of the realm.
Life
but that's
is too short to be wondering what other people think of who you banging.
Man, that's really, I guess that's it. Paul put it in a different way than I was going to, but that's more succinct and to the point. That's really what it comes down to, man. Like, I don't understand. And like, I got the perfect example. When you talked about attractiveness and people that other people don't want, it came to a head with Taye Diggs. Because you know he was on the hot list after how Stella got her roof back. Everybody wanted a Desmond. Then they found out that he was with a white lady, and he fell off that list real quick, like real quick. Now let's keep in mind, and I found myself having like, I hate defending people that I don't know, but like this is where this show comes into play as a nuance. Like he's a theater dude. Like he literally came from the theater, so you're around people that don't look like you for the most part, because there's not a lot of us in theater, in the plays that he was in, doing Macbeth and all of these things. So you start spending weeks and weeks upon, weeks with these people, you go naturally become attracted to people that you're around. And I know people like, well, you can go out and find somebody. No, like when you on Broadway, like that is your life. Like there is no extra, I can go somewhere else to do something. No, because you practice it 9 to 10 hours a day, and then you come and got to do your performances. So I was just, the only thing I was saying with that was that Taye Diggs was the example that I thought of when you mentioned,
he got knocked down a couple pegs. And by the way, shout out to Taye Diggs, because my wife has been binge watching that show, All American. Shout out to Taye Diggs for being the least convincing, playing the least convincing head football coach I've ever.
Oh my God. I watched that with my oldest son, and we laughed at all the football scenes and everything that had to do with football was pure comedy. It's awful.
It's almost like that show. What was that show that came on ESPN years ago?
The Game.
No, that's the one from BET. The one that
was it Players?
Yeah, something like that.
Somewhere the NFL got real mad because they was real.
Yeah. They was actually showing.
This old boy was smoking crack in the stadium and then going to run touchdowns. Yeah, they was tripping. They was super tripping.
They should. I still remember they showed him how he passed the P test, and that's when the NFL stepped in. Like, no, we
no, we got to draw the line somewhere.
They got that show real quick.
Like 25 sexual assault allegations, but we got to draw the line somewhere.
Somewhere.
But hey, that's another story for another day. All right. So
it seems the story of the day, but like you said, we'll do it another
like I
day.
said, we'll double back for that one a little bit later. So
it seems the story of the day, but like you said, we'll do it another day.
Like I said, we'll double back for that one a little bit later. Speaking of the NFL, though, the next question I want to bring up is Kyler Murray, right? Kyler Murray was in the news over the past week because
for all the wrong reasons.
Oh my God! So last week he signed a contract, and it was for, I think it made him this, I guess apparently the second highest paid football player in the NFL. And what was noteworthy about the contract was not necessarily the money, believe it or not, even though it's like astronomical. But it was because they had what has been, I guess, almost tongue-in-cheek called a study hall clause in it, basically stipulating that he have 4 hours of what they call it, independent, 4 hours of independent film study that he does on his own time. Now, this is significant because for those who are not big into football or whatever, college quarterbacks, okay? College quarterbacks spend more than 4 hours of film study, typically, like looking at their opponent. Now, obviously, it's a little bit
depends on who they are.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm going, is there is a stereotype out there. There's this mentality, there's this attitude that says if you are a certain type of quarterback, you just go out there and it's like, we just gonna draw it up in the dirt, and you're gonna be creative and you're just gonna kind of play. And that's whether it's true or not, that is part of the stigma that he carries, is that Kyler Murray is known as somebody who just kind of makes it up as he goes, and it's almost treated as though he does not study. The question is, specifically as it relates to this contract, because the clause was actually put in his contract and it was made public for a reason. The question is, was he wrong for signing it? Was he actually wrong for signing that contract? And in 2022, is that something, as far as the stigma of the black quarterback, is that something that we should really be concerned about? Andre, you played quarterback once.
I did.
I remember that.
So, there's been a rough week for black quarterbacks. Let's go and get this out of the way. Like, Deshaun Watson aside, like, they talked about Lamar Jackson, they talked about Kyler Murray, they talked about Patrick Mahomes. Like,
Russ.
I literally felt like we went back to the I thought we went back to the early
Dak.
90s. Dak too, yeah. I felt like we went back to the early 90s when it was coming, like the conversation around black quarterbacks, because it was the negativity that was surrounded players that have balled out. Let's keep in mind.
Yes, legitimate pocket passers,
legitimate have MVPs.
Yes,
and right. It was talked down on. But the first question I always had when I saw the Kyler Murray contract outside of 4 hours, thing, because that number just seems like I spend more than 4 hours on this damn show, and we ain't making, and he making 160 million. We ain't there yet, but I know I spend more than 4 hours working on this. So the fact that he had to have his name on the signature for 4 hours of independent study to do your job, to be good, is beyond ridiculous. But the first question outside of 4 hours that I had was, who told? Like, who leaked that contract, that portion of the contract?
That portion.
Who doesn't like him to the point that they would put that out there? Because there's no positive way that this can look. Like, we put it in there just to make sure.
The team put it out. The team put it out.
Yeah, that's what. But who was in there? I don't think everybody in the team wanted that. Because they tore it up on Friday, and they signed a new one.
They put it out on purpose to combat him when he did that whole social media wipe and block thing, when he took everything down.
Yeah.
It was literally for that.
It was just petty. Literally.
Yeah, it was just being petty.
Literally just being petty.
Yeah.
Do you want this Do you want this making millions jackpot or not? Go ahead and sign it.
I guess I have a problem with it being in the contract. I have a problem with him signing the contract.
Clause.
Right. Yeah. But my problem is the fact that it got out. Like there's no reason that immediately after he signed it. Now, if we find out 2 or 3 years down the road, hey, he had that in his contract or whatever, then we could sit there and say, as soon as that ink dried, they was like, hey, by the way, he don't study film. And we made him sign something to show that he at least studies 4 hours, which is stupid. Because
this is why we got drubbed in the playoffs, by the way, y'all.
Right. So they literally pointed the finger at him before the season even started. Their season is over. Let's go ahead and call that a day.
You sure?
Oh, their season is done. They're 6-11, easy. There's no.
They got weapons.
The first time he throws a pick, it's gonna be, oh, he wasn't studying film. That wasn't on one of them 4 hours. I don't think the
wideouts he got though. He got Hopkins. He got Green. He got tight end.
He has weapons. I'm just saying, but so I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. We assembled a whole bunch of talent back when Michael Vick was the quarterback, the dream team. And that team didn't come together because the team didn't come together. I don't see how this team comes together is all I'm saying. Like now the NFC is a little bit softer than the AFC.
Yeah, so it's a little weaker, but it ain't that.
He's still in the NFC West.
Yeah, I was going to say he's still playing in the wrong division.
Yeah, he in the wrong branch. All right. So I'll see how this goes, but I just thought it was overall telling.
Well, the NFC West then got light this year.
Light-ish.
Russ gone. We don't know what the Lance boy gonna be.
Yeah, but he got a dog calling plays for him. I feel like I still got two.
I got 20 games of football in his life.
I think I got 2 throws left in me. I think Shanahan can get
his resume is thin.
No, I'm serious. I think he played like 10 games in high school and he played like 10 games in college, bro.
You played more games.
I got more tape than good.
Come on.
That's all I'm saying.
It has the potential. I'll agree. It has the potential to be light, but if San Fran does San Fran things, they just got to figure out how to get Debo Samuel the ball and call it a day. Like he didn't sign his contract.
He's gonna run our option.
Hey, whatever that looks like.
Hey, there's not much film study to that, huh?
No.
It's interesting because one of the things that, and I'll throw this over to you, Paul, but one of the things that I find interesting about the whole thing is that it immediately struck a nerve with me, and I'm not even that guy, okay? Like, I tell people all the time, my favorite, just all time, my favorite quarterback, regardless of team, I'm not talking like a Bengals fan or nothing, Warren Moon. That's my dude. I love me some Warren Moon. And that comes with an understanding of the fact that Warren Moon had to literally go play in Canada at quarterback because he refused to not play quarterback. Like he did. In fact, Tony Dungy, who was also a quarterback in the Big Ten, played in Minnesota. They were like, hey, why don't you slide over there to the secondary? Why don't you go over there and play the corner? What happens is it immediately struck a nerve for me, but it felt like I was torn because I almost felt like, is he that unaware or unconcerned about how this looks for him to even put his signature on that contract? And everybody was talking about, well, what does he owe the culture? And does he, and it's like, nah, this is the man's money. Okay. But at the same time, he is the face of that franchise. You could have told them to take that language out.
Absolutely.
Before you say, clearly he knew it was in there. It almost makes me feel like maybe, I don't know if it's like, did he not care that it was there? And should he have cared that it was there? Because I know it bothered me. I wasn't going to sign it. But then again, it wasn't my money. What say you, Paul?
All right.
Football, you had that look on your face like you going to sign that contract, huh?
Yeah, I don't care. I wouldn't have did a press conference. I just would have said, hey, I'd do 5 weeks, it ain't nothing. Or 5 hours, it ain't nothing.
4
Football
hours and
tape.
30 minutes, solid.
But you say I'm still gonna run out the pocket. So what?
Y'all know what I'm gonna do. I can look at this film all y'all want. As soon as somebody run through, I'm out. But football head tape. Seeing coaching guys from Little League and seeing how what's going on and how these kids are coming up. These quarterbacks ain't very good, and neither are the linemen. And it's because they're not prepared.
They don't have enough time, man.
They're not prepared. So you have to deal with guys like Kyler, like a Hurts, like Lamar, because the linemen aren't good enough to get you to 4 Mississippi anymore.
See Joe Burrow.
They're not good enough to get you to 4 Mississippi. So the coaches are literally rolling out the balls for these quarterbacks. They're not developing anything anymore. So whatever your youth coach gives you is what you take to high school and what you take to college. And by God, sometimes you have to take that to the NFL. Look at Lamar.
Yep.
Petrino didn't do anything to develop him. Petrino said, "Oh, I got a cheat code." And he used that cheat code, and the boy got a Heisman out of it, and he got to the league. But he didn't prepare him for sustainability.
And even to your point, Bob, actually, Lamar Jackson is a good one. Like,
Yes.
Lamar has actually held up. You know about the bet that we had with Tia, where I was like,
we lost brand on Lamar.
We lost money because I was like, he's not going to survive. And I kept
it wasn't about how good.
I said,
it had nothing to
him.
do with how good we thought he was going to be. It was like, he's going to get on that John Deere. They're going to catch him.
Right. I said, I gave it like 20 games. And he blew that out. And it was because I literally thought he's going to be running for his life. And eventually he's going to get caught because it had nothing to do with him. But that's kind of the point I'm getting at is what you were saying. Yeah.
So what's the difference between Manziel and Murray other than discipline? They're the same player. It's just that Manziel couldn't take his ass into the house at night.
Well, yeah. Well, and one of them, was uber rich and entitled, and the other one.
Well, they both were uber rich.
Less, I was about to say one of them was less uber rich.
Yeah, I was about to say Kyler Murray didn't come from. He ain't come
there's
from.
Levels. I'm just saying.
Kyler Murray did not grow up broke.
I'm not saying he grew up broke. I'm saying there's levels. I didn't grow up broke either, but I didn't grow up Johnny Manziel.
If Kyler Murray grew up in the E, he would be upset.
Okay. Now you taking shots at Andre.
I'm not taking shots at Andre at all because the E was live. That's where the folks who had some bread live.
All right. No, you can say it because Andre drove through the 8 section, drove by my neighborhood and was like, ooh, this how y'all live?
He rolled the windows up driving through the 8.
No. This mom was like, lock your door.
Right.
I could roll the windows down. It was when I was in the F. That's when I rolled the windows up. But that's
maybe always.
He said, meet me on Waycross. I'll pick you up.
Till you get the
I'm not coming down Hanover.
But it does bring up a larger point and the quarterback discussion because, like I said, Patrick Mahomes got criticized for playing street ball. They call him a street ball quarterback at this point.
Right.
They never said that about Favre.
Never said that about Favre, and don't say that about Josh Allen.
Steve Young.
Oh, no, Steve Young took some bullets but only because he followed Joe Montana. If Steve Young had played for the Houston Oilers and was just running around and didn't have no Joe Montana, he would have been celebrated the same way he is now.
But the thing is, he played in Tampa and he got destroyed because of it.
Yeah,
that's the reason why.
So you grew up as Warren Moon fan. I grew up literally as Randall Cunningham. Like,
yes.
that was me. That's how I became an Eagles fan. All of that. Like, you put the ball in my hand.
I was going into Chris Carter. Absolutely. I loved the Eagles back then. Yes.
But that's
Andre. It was Andre. He took it. He took it. To the extreme though. That was. For real, that was his boy. Like,
yes. Yeah. So, but it's still, that's why I say I feel like we moved back to the 90s because that was the whole thing. That's how Randall blew out his knee, is because they said all he does is scramble, play street ball. And then they put him in the pocket, Line didn't protect him. Green Bay blew his knee out first game. Season done.
Yep.
And but the other quarterbacks, we'll just say the others, don't seem to get this same criticism or as much heat. Like Kirk Cousins doesn't get, like, he's a very solidly average quarterback. Dak Prescott is way better than him, but they talk worse about Dak. I think Dak Prescott's better than Kirk Cousins. Now, I ain't saying about it. He's better than Kirk Cousins, but even if they close, even if they the same, who gets more vitriol? And I know part of it has to play with. I know he plays with the Dallas Cowboys,
star, bro.
I know that part comes into play, but still, like, I'm talking about from just regular football hits.
Andre, you don't even have to go that far. Russell Wilson gets more criticism.
Fair.
Frankly, there are people who are actually doubting his influence that he's going to have in Denver. And I don't just mean it from the X's and O's and does it, does he fit and can they put a scheme around him and does he have talent around him? Like, Kirk Cousins is, I mean, he's one of the highest paid players in the NFL. And like you said, he is solidly average.
He got a chokehold on average. Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is textbook B-.
Yes.
He ain't never gonna play
82%.
He ain't never gonna play to an A though. He gonna hover around a solid B to a C+ every day. But he got paid like an A. Oh, he got paid like an
A. Well, he played the game. He bet on himself.
He did,
and he won.
Yeah, all 3 times.
He bet on himself.
Washington and in Minnesota. And it's interesting that you bring it up because I think about another cautionary tale as a black quarterback who also fits into the first block that we talked about, RG3.
Yeah.
Look at what happens with RG3 when he goes to Washington. Like, clearly, star was rising that first year. And then we literally watched that man's career die in the playoffs.
He killed it.
Well, he bet on himself, though, to your point. He bet on himself and he lost.
He was on a rookie deal, though. He didn't want to sit down. He thought he didn't respect those other professionals and thought he could go out there with one leg and play against the Baltimore Ravens?
Yeah. his leg
Touche. Okay.
His leg went
Come on, man.
Touche. That was, you were never gonna win any of the other 31 teams. You definitely wasn't gonna win that.
Wasn't that Vita Vea that hit him that made his leg go separate directions?
It looked like it separated.
I thought it was Haloti.
Oh yeah, it was Haloti. Yeah.
Proud of Rose Park. Shout out to Rose Park, by the way.
Made that man leg go all which way.
All right. I don't feel like we got any closure on that one, but I feel better. I felt better. I feel better now. I got it off my chest.
Shout out to Charlie.
Man, that contract been eating me up, man. 4 hours?
4 hours.
The disrespect. That was so flagrant.
You could disrespect me. You could disrespect me and give me $165 million. I'm gonna like that.
So you did ask a question. Did he care, or should he care at the end of it? And I don't think he like. For me, I probably would have signed it. I think so. Like, no,
I clear the bank.
I don't know if I would have signed it or not because he still had the threat to be able to be like, yo, what? I'm going to play baseball and you'll have no draft picks and call it a day. Like, he didn't play the leverage that he had. He just saw the dollar figure and was like, cool. And now if you study it more than 4 hours, it really shouldn't mean anything. But at the same time, that perception is going to be with him for forever at this point.
Ever.
And I don't know if that's
he can win 2 Super Bowls in a row. The first 2-game losing streak he goes on, where he throws multiple picks.
He wins one Super Bowl. He wins one Super Bowl. We'll laugh at the Claws and we'll laugh at the Cardinals. Y'all know this. Come on, man. Winning cures everything, and then you get to say nah.
I just don't think he played the hand that he had. I guess that's more my big, because he could just be like, you know what, F you and your Claws. I'm going to play baseball. Good luck.
Listen, I'm with Dave Chappelle on this one. I don't care how much money it is. There are certain things I cannot sign my name on.
That's rough. That was rough to say 4 hours though. 4.
Yeah.
Like
that's. So finally, something also that's near and dear to my heart. fortunately or unfortunately, Black preachers have been in the news. Now we tackled Creflo's apology, not quite apology, some time back, but recently, I think of a particular situation where there's a preacher who was on live streaming his sermon and had on jewelry to the tune of $400,000, and he got robbed.
You lock your door, Dre?
We talked about that train
in the middle of the show. But
we talked about that train. You gonna keep it up? Keep it up.
But they can show up if they want to.
Would you say? Say I don't owe the church nothing.
Not a dime.
Say chitty chitty bang bang. Anyway, but yeah, so he got robbed right there live, and they estimated it was over $400,000 with the jewelry. And then recently, something I guess a little bit lighter was my man Andre here just wouldn't let it go. But there's a preacher who was on who decided that he was going to quote a scripture from the 105th chapter of Proverbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, as a preacher, I can tell you there have been plenty of times when I've said Mark chapter 5, and actually I was talking about Matthew chapter 5. So these types of things happen. So again, that was a little lighter and tongue-in-cheek. But the question I want to throw out here is because of so many of the different shenanigans and carrying on that we've seen from a lot of these preachers who are just frankly, there's no two ways about it. And this is not a theological thing. I'm not arguing doctrine here. Y'all just doing the most for largely no reason. And the question I want to throw out there is, because I hear so much criticism of Christianity and a lot of our white peers and counterparts and how they do a disservice because of how they may be hypocritical or maybe they turn a blind eye to certain social justice issues and things like that. The question I want to ask is, the shenanigans and things that go on in the Black church, especially by the people who are the heads of these churches, do they do more harm to the message of Christ and to the church than what we often point the finger at, which is white people? Are the Black preachers the ones who are actually doing the most harm to the faith? Wow. And that's just a general question.
Wow.
Y'all look like y'all want me to start, and so I'm gonna say it. Yes, I find that. Well, and because I feel like it would be disingenuous for me to pass that off because this is my vocation. This is right here in my wheelhouse, and I was already there anyway. So let me go ahead and finish. The fact is, I find that it's troubling that we can't divorce ourselves from the world and the culture and the ways that we are brought up and the different ties and the different attachments that we have. We can't divorce ourselves from that enough to be able to do our job. Similar to what we were talking about with other people. Like, for example, we were talking about 4 hours of study for Kyler Murray. That's almost insulting. That's like kind of almost offensive to even have to put that in the contract, even if you do feel like I'm slacking. Well, in the same way, why can't I get on a Zoom or a live feed? I do it every Sunday. I preach. I was doing it even before COVID. In fact, Paul was one of the originals who was actually putting it out there. He's tweeting it out. He was putting it on social media. So I've been doing this for years. You can do it without putting on hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry. You can do it without all of the theatrics. You can do it without being so flamboyant because it actually takes away, it almost cheapens the message, in my opinion. And so I kind of feel like while there are other things we could point at, there are other groups and there's other in our line of work that we could look at and criticize. The fact of the matter is, it does me no good to, as they say, try to pull the speck out of my brother's eye when I got a plank right there in my own. How can I see to even point out where there's injustices and things that are not being taught and things that are not being done in other churches and amongst other groups when I'm actually hurting and stepping on my own message? Now, I said it.
Fair point. So I got a couple parts. One, just getting back to the whole, Proverbs versus Psalms and misspeaking and stuff like that. Because I couldn't let it go because, no, you put it on tape. Like, you put it on wax. Like, why didn't you just hit delete and just do it over again? Like,
like we about to do with Mr. PP dance here. Like,
you can edit some things out. Like, I just don't get it. But on a side note, like, so $400,000 was the jewelry heist at first, but then he turned it in for $1 million for, I'm assuming, insurance purposes. So you had $1 million worth of jewelry on at church to preach the word of God. With, I think now I've seen parts of the video. I would almost understand if it was Joel Osteen or something that size of church where you had on $1 million worth of jewelry, but that church only had about 20, 25 people in it.
It looked like a bodega.
Where did these funds come from that had you flashing off, your 400, somewhere between $400,000 to $1 million worth of jewelry? And I was looking, he's offering a $50,000 reward for his jewelry.
That R. Kelly loan. PPP.
So I am confused on a lot of things, but yes, it does make the church look bad because we are in a time where now we have free thought. Back when it was slavery, like Sundays was the days that we went to church because one, master told us we had to, but two, that was the only day we had, off. So it was a time for fellowship. Then as we grew older and, time kind of went through in America, it still became Sundays were the days for Black families to get together. And church was just something you did. You would just, grandmama went to church, mama went to church, so you going to church. And so, but this newest generation, our generation, is kind of the first one that I think where it was like, as Black people, we can really, like, we've grown up questioning, like, the legitimacy of church. And with this generation and the information that's out there on the internet, and it's easier to spread, bad news than it is to spread good news. All of that combined, it makes the church look horrible. And yes, it does put a stain on Christianity because this is who we are claiming is representing Christianity. So you got, and to make this a fair, balanced report, we still also have white people who are doing their thing with women's rights and abortion and all these other things that don't seem to be very Christ-like on their end either. So when we looking at the news, and I live in the Bible Belt, and it's a scary situation down here, truly.
Yes.
Because all they got,
they're not playing in Nashville
at all. Guns, Bible, and animals, like your dog. That's really it. That's the only important things. Everything else be dead. And
like Utah.
But
that's another Bible belt.
That is a different Bible belt there too.
That's a different Bible.
Exactly.
Right.
So when you have all of this, like, I understand when pastors say that, Christianity or church is under attack, but like, y'all not doing anything. Y'all as the church aren't really doing much to help this not like be under, like, they under attack for good reason. And it's because of the thoughts like, this don't seem clean. Like, we're not accepting just any message anymore. And until pastors adjust that's the fact that, like, if I'm trying to bring people to Christ, I need to evaluate how I'm doing that, as opposed to wearing, $1 million worth of jewelry and watching people struggle, but tell me to give you your last. Now we having an argument over whether tithes was really supposed to be tithes. Like, all of this together, it makes the church look horrible. And I don't know how you recover from that, be considering our generation going forward, this is stuff we teaching our children too. Like, hey, I don't really know about this preacher or something like that. So the church is going to have a hard recovery act is what I'm getting at.
And you know what, before I toss this over to you, Paul, but that's part of what you just said, Andre, is part of what grinds my gears about it. It's interesting because we have long, and I'm talking well before our time, we're talking centuries old, this issue of paternalism and chauvinistic attitudes within the church. These different dynamics where, like, women, that certain passages are taken out of context to make it like women are somehow second class. They shouldn't be talking in the church and they have no voice. And I don't want to get too far off of there, but like in First Timothy, there's an often quoted passage about how women are supposed to dress and appear, and that got turned into something else. But actually, it literally, if you look at it in context, what he's telling Timothy, what Paul, who is the author, is telling Timothy is there's a way that you're to conduct yourself and a way that you're supposed to dress that does not, it's not that you should dress a certain way because you need to be modest, meaning you need to hide your body, but it's a be modest so that you're not shaming other people who don't have money and don't have clothes and don't have the thing that you do. But because we read it a certain way from a very Western perspective and a very Eurocentric, frankly, perspective, everything is about purity and modesty and not showing your body, when in actuality, what he was saying was, don't show up to these church meetings dressed with all your jewelry and with your nice gowns, because there are people around you who are other believers who don't have what you have. And so it's completely antithetical to what you're saying your message is when you show up with, and I know we're picking on dude, but he kind of deserves it. Why are you showing up with $400,000 of anything on when you have a church full of people? And we, again, use the word full, kind of liberally here because it's relative, right? But my point is, like, even if you were showing up with a room full of millionaires, why are you guys showing up with this idea that I've got to floss anyway? It literally goes against, like, it's directly opposed to what Jesus' message was in the first place.
You said it last week. You said Christians are bigots, right?
Yeah, so, I said it this week.
You said this week. So with that said, you got the one lady preacher talking about people ugly and broke. Ooh. And then, but that seems to be the theme of the black preacher, in my opinion. Again, I'm not a church going dude. I'm on the outside looking in. I'm a casual with this.
You just a regular good old heathen.
I'm just a good old sinner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I call you when we not here. Yeah. Like, Paul's a heathen, y'all. Give him a break.
Right. He don't know no better. So, with that said, it's like, you just made me lose my train of thought.
Kim Burrell, you're talking about the...
Right. With that said, right. So we get back to these things with the black preacher and you broke. Get out my... It's like you feel like you too broke to even go to their church. Right, your outfit ain't cold enough. Like, your car, like, it's weird to me as a guy who, and I grew up Catholic, so you went and out 15, 20 minutes. You kneel a couple times, you say Our Father, you chunk them deuces up, right? And then you go to, like, the black church and it's hooping and hollering and it's high side and this is corruption. It's all kind of other things going on that as a kid I would see that I wasn't supposed to see, or didn't nobody know that I would see. You know what I mean? And we, like you said, our generation is the first generation to not keep Reverend Touchy Philly, keep his secrets. You know what I'm saying? We knew Reverend Touchy Philly was messing with brother such and such, his wife, sister give it away. You know what I'm saying?
Whoever in the choir, one of them in the choir.
Right. Yeah, Deacon Slippery is messing with Sister Bust It Open. You see it like in the back. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. So the corruption all the way around for me was just like, wow. And then, of course, like I said, growing up Catholic and seeing, whatever going on that, that's not for you anyway, because if you go to a white church, they don't believe you going to heaven either way. It's just not for you. You're like, oh, bless your heart. You could pray though. You know what I'm saying?
Best I can give you is purgatory. That's the best.
Right. Best I can do for you is purgatory.
Oh man, that's why I left the Jesuits and went over to the Franciscans. They was a little nicer. They gave us a better spot. They gave us less time in hell,
but you cannot go up here with us with the the heaven and the gold and all that. But
Jesuits was hardcore.
Boy, right? Do some math. That's what Jesuits was.
But I think to your point, Paul, and I guess that's the thing I'm saying is that a lot of times, and the reason why this was near and dear to me, in addition to what I do, it bothers me because you'll have people that don't seem to understand that these are matters of faith, and it affects people's faith. It affects their outlook on God because you're claiming to represent something that you clearly are not representing, or I believe you are actually representing it. And so since you are hypocritical and you're fake, and you're saying one thing, but you're actually living something different. If you're willing to call me ugly or shame me because of how much money I make or how many children I have or what I haven't, or my first marriage didn't work out or whatever it is, if you're willing to be so insensitive about these things, then these things automatically get attached to people's understanding of God. And even if they know better, intellectually, subconsciously, somewhere it bothers you. It's exactly why the Bible says that, it says many of you should not consider yourself teachers because you're held to a higher standard, because there's an expectation that if you claim to be, and it doesn't even have to be about religion, but if I say that I am going to coach, for example, a sport, or if I say that I'm a rapper, if I say that I can sing, and I'm a trained vocalist, well, then you better be ready to, get busy. You better be able to show me something. And unfortunately, I feel like people are showing the wrong thing. They're showing all the wrong things because they're not showing their generosity, their benevolence, their sacrifice in the community, their work. They're not showing any of that. You're just showing me that, you can stunt.
Right.
Well, you people like me. You people like me to say, if y'all in heaven, I'm cool. I'll go down the hill. I'm good.
Say with the real folks.
With the real people. Because, and I think that's part of where it comes into play is you have, like back in the day, if a pastor was, doing something funny with the money, sleeping with his sister Betty Johnson, whatever that looked like, it kind of stayed within that community. But we're no longer in that day and age.
Right.
And so now when that happens, that makes the internet. Then over here, that happens. That makes the internet. not thinking all of these small instances, it used to be, oh, well, that's just one bad preacher. Don't let him disrupt your faith in God because we got one bad preacher over here. But now it's multiplied because it's on the internet. So now I'm looking at 10. I'm looking at 10 bad preachers. And I'm just one individual. So it's like, okay, well, now I'm starting to really question this whole church thing. Well, you know what? I'm still going to go to church. I'm going to be cool. I'm going to check it out and see what's about. Then I get there and the usher ministry got an issue. Or, I didn't pay my tithes. They looking at me strange. Or I'm just dressed in what I can afford. Sunday's Best has taken on a whole different category because Sunday's Best used to just be where whatever you had, the cleanest you can get that you had. Yeah. And now
just
it's
show up.
Right.
Yeah.
And
show up clean, don't show up dirty. Don't show up smelling like last night.
That's all it was. But now it's turned into, and I know I'm generalizing, but it has turned into, a fashion show where people like Paul have said, I don't feel like I can afford to go to your church. I ain't got nothing in my closet that fits the standard that y'all have. So I'm just going to go ahead and stay home and watch it on television. Or I'm going to watch it, I'll catch a snippet on, YouTube, or somebody will send me an inspirational clip. That'll be good enough for me. The church itself has a true identity problem, and they not getting out of their own way to fix it. I'm stuck on that part that until they actually go back. Like Kirk Franklin even kind of said, yo, like we need to reinvent what church looks like. And
I've been saying that for years.
He tried
with his music.
Yes.
He really tried with his music.
I've been saying that for years. The way that we look at the four walls of the church, that is dead. It ain't, and it's not coming back.
It's not.
It's and it's sad because I tell people, the analogy I always give is that at this point, the church is like a hospital, and sick people are like, I'm scared to go in there because I don't know if I can trust your doctors. Not their bedside manner. I can't even trust whether or not I'm going to come out alive.
We are not in love with the dark ages anymore.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the disconnect, if you must be specific. Yeah. We're not in love with the dark ages.
Yeah.
That's not romantic to us. It's not live to us. We like the internet. We like music. We like wearing what we want. We like thinking what we want.
Right.
We like doing what we want. Yeah. Y'all need to do a better job of making it more inclusive.
So I was getting ready to say, bring me something that can actually be tangible and meaningful and relevant to me.
It's like a conversation that you and I had years ago before we wrapped this up, that I used to tell you, used to be laughing. I used to be like, yo, Craig, you need to go down to the booty club, bro. Yeah. Like, I can't go down there. Like, no, I'm dead.
No, absolutely.
Go down to the booty club and just go start talking to people.
Because
have them pour you a cranberry on the rocks. Don't drink, don't do nothing.
Right.
Get down how you get down, and go talk to some of them young ladies in there.
Yep.
Just talk to them.
No, and here's the thing, and you're 100% right.
Ain't that what Jesus would do?
That's exactly what he would do. And frankly, to be honest with you, you may not realize this. That's where I honestly get most of my criticism, is because I associate and I talk to, and I don't mean associate like I'm coming down from on high.
Right.
No, I actually know these people. Yeah, like I'm not, don't get me like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Frankly, I'm not going to do that anyway. That's just not my groove. But the fact of the matter is that what you just said right there is exactly what needs to be done.
Right.
Like you need to be down. And I don't mean that you're saying, the booty club. I'm saying just hit the corner.
The booty club,
do the people
the shelter,
even recognize you in those circles?
Go check on the jails. Like go to the jailhouse, bro.
Literally.
Literally take your,
and that's actually what I do,
and go talk to some folks.
And it's amazing.
You might get 2 or 3 people to come mess with you when they get out.
Yes, people, and it's crazy because I have other ministers and people around me who are like, man, that's really admirable, and I'm like, and it shouldn't be.
Right.
It really shouldn't be. The fact that I go to the jail, the fact that I hang out in these places, the fact that I'm at the the different clubs, clearly I'm not there to dance. I'm not there to pick up nobody. So, but that shouldn't be something that's so commendable as much as it is something that you should want to imitate. But again, I don't want to go too far off on that. It's just, I feel like we stomp on our own message when we do some of these shenanigans.
Absolutely.
So I said what I said. And yes, we got to eliminate the bigotry too. Stop calling people ugly and telling people that they broke. Stop counting other people's money.
All of that.
Yeah, all of that. So we've reached that point where we have to talk about those who have come up missing, those we've been looking for, people that we got some questions about that we need answered. We need y'all to show up. Our APBs, the All Points Bulletin. And as always, we're going to start with the letter A because we watch Sesame Street. So we know that A comes before P.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't come before B. Well, actually, anyway.
Wow.
The letter A.
That went wrong.
Wow.
Know your ABCs.
That's that extra GCL they just made up.
Ooh, wow. You went there? It's like that?
Okay. I'm just saying.
Wow.
You know what? Y'all was in the real GCL when you was there.
Oh no, it was a real GCL until it wasn't.
Right.
And I ain't got nothing to do with that. Like, hey, we took our lumps.
Right.
So what you got, Andre?
All right. So my APB has actually been building for a few decades at this point.
That's one of those, man.
Yeah, man. HBCUs and their financial aid departments.
Wow.
I'm gonna need y'all as a collective to do a lot better. Find the money. Like, so this whole thing started because Deion Sanders, Coach Prime.
Oh, it didn't start with Deion Sanders.
No, it didn't. I'm just saying
I got stories to tell you.
We all got stories. That's why I say it's 30 years in the making, because we all got stories. But this sparked by Coach Sanders when he was talking about players not getting the refund checks on time that they're due. Not like extra money or money that is a loan or anything like that. Literally like, hey, your school and tuition and room and board and all has been paid for. Here's the refund check so that you can go pay for your apartment or food and things like that.
That'll get you through the whole semester, bro.
Yeah.
And
you can live off, you can breathe a little bit. Yeah.
And I know that like this, I can say with confidence because I went to a PWI. And for those who are watching who don't know what a PWI is predominantly white institution. That's the new name that they've get. White people needed to have letters too because they found out HBCUs had letters. So, white people got to do the same thing.
They was out there picketing, protesting, we need letters.
PWIs. So I've been to 3 of them at this point. And the only problem I've had with financial aid is how long the line itself is. But that's it. Like my money was always there. It was just the fact that everybody showed up the first couple of days and was trying to get all their bread and the line was long. That's all.
This is not so at the HBCU.
It is not, because you're gonna run into a myriad of problems. Whether my check here, are my classes paid for? Wait, you dropped me from my classes 2 weeks ago
for no reason.
No reason whatsoever.
I didn't do anything. I didn't even log in.
I don't understand why the financial aid departments, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'll put the number at 85%. There's probably higher than that, but I'm gonna say 85% of the HBCUs, why the financial aid system is so terrible. And it's not, I get sometimes the states divvy money how they want to, and they haven't given HBCUs all the money that they were supposed to receive from the states and things like that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about between lack of communication, lack of organization, and lack of hospitality when somebody's coming in to get help. Like TSU a couple of years ago literally dropped all students who had past due bills before somebody stepped in and paid the bills for them. And most of it was attributed to late payments from money that they didn't get that they were owed. Like,
absolutely.
And
that's not a new thing.
This is not a new thing. Like, but how come the training from the white institutions don't make it over to the HBCUs? Like, y'all doing the same math. Y'all math ain't mathing like they math is mathing. And I don't understand why it's not. Like, we both applied for federal student aid. We both filled out the paperwork. We both sent it in the same day. Why are you getting yours 7 weeks before I'm getting mine? Like, I don't understand this. And I'm with Deion Sanders that somebody needs to show me where the loophole is or the breakdown is so we can get this fixed, because we really have been at this for 30 plus years. I don't know anybody who went to a HBCU or applied to a HBCU that has not had problems with the financial aid department. We're talking about real problems. We need to fix that up. That's my APB is, can we find whoever is in charge of messing this up? I almost cussed. Whoever messed this up, can we
deep enough into the thing that it don't even matter at this point.
Can we find who effing it up so we can get that money straight and get
you're saying 85%, Andre, you're saying 85%. I don't know of another alum. I know plenty of alums of HBCUs. I don't know of one who hasn't experienced it, no matter where they go.
I was giving 85. I was giving 8 because there's so many HBCUs. I was thinking maybe there's one somewhere in that I don't know about, that I just don't know anybody who went there.
Matter of fact, other people who I know of, like me, who went to HBCUs, they will tell you it's a rites of passage. You didn't go to an HBCU unless you got dropped from a class that you needed, not just a class, not like one of the electives. If you didn't get dropped from a class that you needed when you needed it, that wasn't going to come back around again until next year, and you didn't get your money on time, then you didn't go to an HBCU.
It's part of the experience.
Period.
We need to fix it.
All right, Paul, what you got?
All right. Mine is, again, usually the lightest one of the three. I'm going to put an APB out on Cincinnati hip-hop.
Ooh.
What happened?
That sounds personal.
What happened? We had some nice cats in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, right? Not a lot of guys made it big, but we had a lot of talent, a lot of originality.
Deep bench.
Lyricists, singers, songwriters, poets, the whole gamut. I turn on my phone and I'm scrolling and I see this not Cincinnati joint.
Yeah.
And I proceed to click on it and listen to it and hear about all the places that are in Cincinnati, how they wasn't Cincinnati, remaking a random kind of off-brand kind of hit, I guess, a little bit song about another city that wasn't even like on the map. I'm so confused. How did we get here? How did we get from Jabri, Move, Composure, Rob Nell, Trump Tight, Truth Music? How did we get here? GTM. How did we get here to where we copying other cities' D-side music?
Yes, I was getting ready to say, like, you could have jacked a much better car.
My God! Oh,
somebody said they was gerrymandering.
Oh, I'm so disappointed. I'm not even angry. I'm so disappointed. It's like, and folks ask, like,
gerrymandering.
Oh my goodness, man! It's I see why they work so hard to save King Records. It's bad, man. What happened to the art in my city, man? What happened?
I got no answers, to be honest with you. I know a lot of talent left.
Yes.
Well,
we're looking at it, but
wasn't gonna plug myself. Right, yeah. I had to go somewhere in order for it to happen.
Shout out to all the people that left. That's on this cast right now. Well, I say all the time. I say all the art left when they took that King Kong mural down on the side of that building. You know the one I'm talking about. Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about. You get off of 71 when you're going downtown.
Yes.
You see, yeah, okay. Bring it back. Bring King Kong back. How about that? Yeah, some of y'all like, ooh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That city ain't been right since Mr. Jeans went down.
Right.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Before we go too far down memory lane, let me give you my APB. And Paul said he normally goes light. I'm gonna go even lighter, but not that much lighter because this is near and dear to my heart. I need to know what happened to Philip Michael Thomas. Yes, Philip Michael Thomas. Okay, I'm talking like Sparkle. I'm talking Miami Vice.
He is in your mama's DMs right now. Guaranteed. I'm sorry. I get it backwards. Your mama is in his DMs.
You're right. This man, first of all, Philip Michael Thomas is 73 years old. This man has this gigantic gray beard. Like he looks like natural bearded Santa Claus beard. But the thing is, he's not doing any movies. He's not popping up with any cameos. I don't know.
Thomas.
What?
He Philip Michael. He don't got to do none of that.
That's not
like
the point. I know he didn't have to do any of it. Yes, he didn't have to do any of it. He didn't have to do none of that. Okay, like none of his work was essential to the culture, but that's not the point. I need him to come back. I need him to come back. Say hi. Stop in.
He was Diet Billy D. Williams.
Where Billy D been too?
Billy D. Williams is genuinely like Is
he alive?
He's making it. He's barely making, but he's at that age where I get it. Like they have to put a little too much makeup on to make him screen worthy.
Smokey is still on tour.
Smokey different though. Smokey different.
Smoking that smoke.
Gang bang.
Smokey different. But I'm just saying, like, and it's not just Philip Michael Thomas, it's others, but I specifically need Philip. I'm calling out Philip Michael Thomas, okay? Because I thought about like my mother, my sister, like they were in love with him. Frankly, he represented a form of masculinity that I was like, I will never be that. I will never be like nobody's ever gonna swoon over me like Philip Michael Thomas.
I was just salty. They just gave him a funky ass Cadillac, and old boy was riding around in Raris and Lambos.
He had a different car every week.
Man, yeah, old funky. I mean, I'm not saying his caddy wasn't live, but
it was sweet.
It was cold.
They didn't freshen it up at all. Like he held on.
Come on, bro had a Ferrari.
Shout out to holding on to funky Cadillacs though, because I drive one. Right. No black preacher is complete without a black Cadillac. So hey, do what you do. But nonetheless, yeah, Philip Michael Thomas, where you at?
John Gray wouldn't be caught dead in a Cadillac.
Wait a minute. First of all,
so much I want to say, but I don't want to start the show over again.
Listen, I would need you to cut that one. I would need you to cut that one, right? Because that could have been that had like 5 different exit ramps, and I just blew past all of those.
Right?
Come on, man. Why you do that?
Well, we still got one APB out, so still as we've been doing for the last 6 other episodes. Brittany
playing games, man.
They playing games. They making, I guess, some propositions, some progress, some not progress. Like I don't really know what's going on at this point, but
it's a lot for a half a gram of weed, though.
Man, in oil.
This is a lot.
We said liquefied.
Man, this is a lot going on, but we still want to send our positive prayers and energy to Brittany Griner, and we're still asking everyone to go to www.wearebg.org to sign a petition just to let people know that you care. Let her know that she is not alone in this fight to get her back home. But we wanted to do that, as well as send a sad RIP to Nichelle Nichols and Bill Russell, two Black icons just in life. But we'll touch more on what they mean later, but just wanted to put that out there since we just got that news.
Absolutely. We want to thank you all for joining us this week. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us as we tackle so many various different issues and questions and different things going on in our world today. We want to encourage you to be your best, be kind, be the best possible version of yourself so that you can actually have the impact on the world in the way that you want it to be seen. Let it be reflected through you. So we look forward to seeing you again next week. Peace out.
Yeah. Also, get those essays and send them to the Gray Matters Facebook page, inbox.facebook page. And like I said, best essay wins. I'm just going to send them out to whoever, you know what I'm saying? Just free cleats, no strings attached. They fresh in the mug, size 12.
Absolutely.
They don't fit, make them fit.
Hey, I know somebody need them.
Right, absolutely.
I used to be the kid that needed those cleats, so
That's right.
I'm trying
boy.
I'm trying to help somebody out. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share. We're on all streaming platforms. Let's make this make this a success. We trying to bring y'all fresh content every week, one way or another. So we appreciate y'all for taking the time to listen. But until we meet again, keep searching for the light.
And also hit us up if you got any show ideas. Like, we take topics, we take requests.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
But enough with those black preachers. I think we've exhausted that one. Give us something else.
We tired of the one we got.
All right, y'all take it easy. Be blessed.